Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah wa ba'd. My topic today is balancing study with religion. The audience is American college students, especially Muslim students. My claim to being relevant to speak on this topic is the fact that I was myself in college this summer. From June to August 2023, I was in Bennington College in Vermont, in a course run by Middlebury Language Schools, the course of an intensive course, immersion course in the Arabic language. My class consisted of, the majority of them were college students, so they were in their 20s. There were two people in the class who were in their early 40s. So, and my teachers also were younger than I am. I lived in the hostel, and 2 months of intensive learning. Great fun, not always easy, different kinds of difficulties, but Alhamdulillah, I enjoyed myself thoroughly. And I'm happy to say that apart from getting an A plus in the grades, I also was voted most popular student on campus. So this was, I have no clue why, frankly, if you ask me. But anyway, that's what they did. And somebody came and told me that. Now, before I go further into this topic of balancing study and religion, I want to say to you four things which I want you to keep in your mind and remember and reflect on. The first one is we must all suffer from one of two kinds of pain. We must all suffer from one of two kinds of pain: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Let me repeat that. We must all suffer from one of two kinds of pain: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And that's because the distance between dreams and reality is discipline. Number two, factor Allah into the equation because He is in it anyway. It's not a question of choice. It's not a question of what we decide to do or not do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, is part of the equation anyway. So factor Allah into the equation, meaning into every decision that you take. Number three is a wonderful quote from Alexander, who said, people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Let me repeat that. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. And the last one is selective obedience is disobedience. Selective obedience is disobedience. Now, my question to you before we go further, or the first question, is why are you here? Why are you in this college? And if you tell me that you are here to get this or that degree, then I will tell you that you are not thinking clearly enough. I mean, what is the goal? The degree is one of the steps to take you to the goal. What is your goal in your life? Because three secrets, open secrets of success. Number one, goal clarity. Number two, a strong routine. And number three, conscious, thoughtful practice. Conscious learning and thoughtful practice. These are the three secrets of success, rooted in our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what must you do? Starting right now, write your goal in not more than 3 to 4 words. If you need more than 3 to 4 words to write your goal, it means you have not thought out. You have not thought enough, and you have not finished the thinking process to go back and think some more. Write it in 3 to 4 words, not more than that. And then put it where you can see it on a daily basis. on your screen, in front of you, on the wall, in your office, in your workplace, wherever. But remind yourself of your goal in life over and over and over until it becomes of your part of your mind and your heart. Number two, create a strong routine and follow it. In my mind, the first thing that comprises a good, strong routine is to make your bed every morning as soon as you get up. I went to boarding school from the age of 6, and this is what they drilled into us, and I'm very happy they did. It's a wonderful habit to have, to be systematic and organized, because believe me, structure is the secret of productivity. Structure is the secret of productivity. So create a strong routine and follow it. And number 3, write a learning journal. I will tell you what to do in that learning journal in a minute, but write a learning journal. And for everything, create metrics, measurement. How do you know that your day went well? How will you know if your day does not go well? So create metrics. Learning journal, what is it? The learning journal is 2 columns. What happened and what did I learn? What happened and what did I learn? Now, obviously, you don't write down every single thing that happened in the day, but you definitely write down every important thing that happened. So what happened? This happened. This is what I learned. This, for example, you might say, well, I listened to this lecture and this is what I learned. That in my life, I must have a strong routine. And what will I do differently from tomorrow, which is the next step from that, is I will get up in the morning and make my bed. Things are very, very simple sometimes, but we need to think about them. So what happened and what did I learn? Get a book, write this religiously every single day. This concept of extracting learnings from life is based on David Cobb and Harry Ingham's model of adult learning. And they explain that very beautifully. They say that something happens to you, which they call concrete experience. Now, once that incident or that happening is over, then you think about it. You sit down and you reflect on it. And they call it reflective observation. So in your mind, you are replaying that video of what happened. And you are asking yourself, what did I do? Was that the best option? Did I have any other options? What else could I have done? Had I done something else, had I said something else, had I spoken some other way, would the result have been different, and so on. So, concrete experience, reflective observation. Out of reflective observation comes abstract conceptualization. So, what did I actually learn? One sentence. That's very important, because without abstract conceptualization, there is no learning. We only learn what we conceptualize. So therefore, what is my conceptualization? And then, of course, it has to be action, because only actions matter. So active experimentation. The active experimentation is another experience, and the cycle continues. We call this the adult learning cycle. So let's come to the religion. Now, what is religion? And I'm talking about Islam here specifically. So what is the religion? Islam is a way of life. What does that mean? It means that Islam is the way to live our lives in this world. There's no Islam in the qabr. There's no Islam in your grave. There's no Islam after you die. Right? So Islam is the way to live our lives in this world, leading to being immensely successful in this world and pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the process. So what is there to balance? Balance what? Here is a way which will make you the most beloved, the most influential, the most successful, the best person in the world. So what is there to balance? So this is something that I want you to think about, because we've all fallen into this trap. Balancing deen and dunya. What is the meaning of balancing deen and dunya? We've got used to these terminologies. We're from God knows where, right? So think about them. Just don't use the words. It's not a question of balance. It's a question of using it to become the most successful human being that your environment and your society and your people have ever seen. So think about that in that context. Why Islam? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose it for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said very clearly, وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. Allah said, Allah is pleased with Islam as a deen for you, as a way of life for you. So Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Islam for me. This shows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves me enough to send for me a complete way of life in order to live this life and be hugely beneficial to everyone and be highly successful in my life, because there's nothing that benefits or harms Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's for us. So Allah loves me. And then why do I need it? Because my life is a trust. I hold my life. And by life, I don't just mean my breath, everything. My life, my resources, my intellect, my wealth, my health, my everything is a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which I hold in trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about which I will be questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day that I meet Allah. And that is the reason why we must be very, very careful with regard to what Allah has given us. And so the question that I want to ask myself and I want you to ask yourself is, how do you feel about Allah? When the word Allah comes, when His name comes before us, what does it do to us? Does it do anything to us at all? Because this is the nature of life, right? If there is somebody I love, if there's some friend of mine, when the person mentions his or her name, it produces some feeling in me. The sign of connecting or interacting with something is that it produces feeling in me. So what does, when somebody says Allah, when the Quran is recited before me, or I recite the Quran, for example, does it do anything to me? Is there any effect inside me? Think about that. Listen to some Quran, ask yourself. Right? Because connections take time and engagement. And the first and foremost connection, the most critically important connection, is the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that connection will take time just like any other connection. So what must I do? Four things. Number one, pray tahajjud. Make tahajjud further yourself. Pray tahajjud every day. Wake up 1 hour before the time of Fajr starts. Pray tahajjud and read one juz of Quran. Every single day, make this into a routine. Imagine how beautiful that day will be, where the day begins with this worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 1 hour of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So 1 hour before Fajr, pray tahajjud. Wake up 1 hour before Fajr, pray tahajjud, read one juz of Quran, then go to the masjid, pray Salatul Fajr. For the ladies, pray at home, but pray. Number two, always, without exception, earn halal and eat halal. Because this is the foundation of all ibadah, of all worship. If you are earning haram and eating haram, your worship is not accepted, your charity is not accepted, your hajj is not accepted, your dua is not accepted. So please don't do that. Do not do that to yourself. Earn halal, eat halal, and always pray on time. Never miss salah. There is no reason to miss salah. Whatever you are doing is less important than standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's call comes, when you hear the adhan or when you know the time for salah has come, salah is the only thing that you should be doing at the time. So make sure you pray on time. Number two. Number three, fulfill all fara'id. Whatever Allah made fard, do that. Whether it is in terms of your appearance, whether in terms of what you eat and don't eat, whether it's in terms of your relationships, whether it's in terms of the different ibadat, the different forms of worship, charity and so on, salah, fasting, Ramadan, hajj, zakat, and everything. Fulfill the faraid. Make sure that the fard is completed. There are very few of them. Fulfill them. And then, when your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, one of the finest way of connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to make dua. Talk to Allah, man. Talk to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows you. He created you. He is the one who is closest to you. Take advantage of that. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell him your story. He knows your story anyway, but tell him your story. He likes to listen to you. Tell him your story. Allah said, Uduni, ask me. Astajib lakum, I will give you. So talk to Allah as if you can see Him and know that He sees you. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. Rasulullah said, worship Allah as if you can see Him, and though you can't see Him, know that He sees you. And dua is worship, so make dua as if you can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, let me give you a daily schedule. As I said, wake up 1 hour before Fajr and pray Tahajjud and read Quran and then do exercise. Movement is absolutely critically important. Exercise, both aerobic and anaerobic, which is weights, strength. Walk a minimum of 10,000 steps, which is 5 miles every single day. Right? Maybe take a day off if you like, but 5 miles. And remember, all of this takes discipline. Initially, it is painful. When you wake up in the morning, it's painful. Today, I went for a walk. I walked 5 miles. The temperature was 6 below zero. If I can do that, you can do that. No excuses. And it's wonderful. You feel absolutely brilliant. It's just cold to get up. But after that, once you get out and you start walking, the body warms up. You start sweating literally. Believe me, I was sweating at 6 below zero, at -6. And you come back, you feel absolutely fantastic. And then go to the gym and work out. Do some weights. Very, very, very important. Number 3 is your whole day. But make a schedule for the day. Prioritize what is important. Do that first. What is not important, don't do it. Avoid social media like the plague. Literally. Because that is what eats up our time. The continuously WhatsApp messages, this, that. All of us are the victims of FOMO, fear of missing out. And we constantly are watching messages and this and that. Shut off all notifications. Use social media only and only as a communication method. You get free calls on WhatsApp or whichever, any of the chats. Use that to talk to people, to connect to people, to see people. But other than that, stay clear out of it. And also remember, there's only bad news there. And especially in today's context, only bad news, gruesome videos. The more you watch that, the more it will affect your hearts. First, the heart is hurt. You get angry, and then you can't do anything, so you get frustrated. And then it deadens the heart. The heart doesn't respond anymore. Then that whole stuff becomes a topic of conversation. Don't do that to yourself. Pray all salah on time and write your learning journal every night. And before you go to sleep, make wudu, do your azkar, and go to sleep. Now you might say, what about eating? 1 meal a day. Eat 1 meal a day, maybe a snack in the around midday or something like that. That's it. You don't need more than that. That is more than enough to keep your energy and everything in balance. You will do brilliantly. I want to end with giving you a gift. And the gift is, I call it the power of 1. 1 degree more. 1 degree only. The reason for that is, most of us, we have a very powerful cop-out strategy. We have a strategy by which we justify inaction, justify doing nothing. And that is, we globalize a problem. If I ask you, what is the problem, the biggest problem today, we will say it's a divisions among us. If I say, well, what can you do about that? I say, what can I do? I'm only one person. What you can do is to make friends with somebody who is not like you. Somebody who believes different, somebody who thinks differently from you. If I ask you what's the problem of the world, you might say hunger. Can you solve it? How can I solve it? I'm one person. Can you feed one person? Yes. If you can't feed 100, you feed one. If you can't educate 100, educate one. So when you globalize a problem, it makes you powerless and it justifies that powerlessness. What must you do? Localize the problem. Reduce it to saying, what can I do about this? At 99 degrees, water is hot. At 100 degrees, water boils. Boiling water produces steam. Steam can power an engine. At 99 degrees, you have hot water. At 100 degrees, a train will move. A matter of 1 degree more. That's it. 1 degree more. How important is that? In 2012, in the men's 100 meters race in the Olympics, the difference between a gold medal and no medal, I'm not talking about the difference between gold and silver, gold and bronze, I'm saying a gold medal and no medal. The difference between the gold medal and no medal was 0.25 quarter second. 0.25 second. Usain Bolt did it in 9.63 seconds and 9 minutes and 63 seconds. And Ryan Baily did that in 9 minutes and 88 seconds. Right? Quarter second. In the Indy 500 car race in 2015, the difference between the first and second place was 0.1 seconds. 0.1. 1/10 of a second. The difference in prize money was $1,600,000. Only 1 degree separates the good from the great. Between growing up and growing old, there is a short window during which we can make a difference. Once that shuts, our life is effectively over, even if we remain alive. What is the difference? What differentiates the lion from the antelope? The same thing that differentiates normal light from laser. What differentiates the leaders from the rest is the same thing, and that is focus. Focus. Normal light at best illuminates. Laser cuts through steel. Same thing. Focus. What is focus? Focus is the art of ignoring fluff. Today we are swamped with information. You want focus? You have to learn what to ignore. And that's where the importance of change comes in. Because if you want to get what you never had, you must do what you never did. If you want to get what you never had, you must do what you never did. If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. Results come from actions, and actions define you. It's your life, and you are responsible for the results, nobody else. You are now aware, and you have a target. And what is that target? 1 degree more. So, on the path to success, there are 6 things that I want you to remember. Number 1, quality. Quality is not an option. Quality must be a given. It must become your brand. I love the family slogan of the Gucci family. Quality is remembered long after the price is forgotten. That's their family slogan. Number 2, we become what we think. Your mind is like a fertile field. It doesn't care what you plant in it, but it will return to you only what you plant in it. You plant rice, you get rice. You plant wheat, you get wheat. You plant rice, you want wheat, you no get. You plant good, you get good. You plant evil, you get evil. You plant evil, you want good, you will not get. Number 3, attitude. What's that? That present circumstances do not decide if you will succeed or fail. They only define where you need to start. Number 4, faith. What is faith? When you come to the end of the light of all that you know. When you come to the end of the light of all that you know and are about to step off into the darkness of the unknown. Faith is knowing that one of two things will happen. There will be something firm to stand on, or you will be taught how to fly. And that's Barbara Winters. 5, goal. What kind of goal? An extraordinary goal. Because it is the nature of the extraordinary goal to inspire extraordinary effort. Number 6, perseverance. For success is nothing more than this, to rise every time you fall. As they say, you fall 5 times, you rise 6 times. It's very important to remember, people talk about the importance of role models. It's very important to remember that it is not important who you want to be. It is not important who you want to be. What is important is who wants to be you. Final thing before I leave you is with my own motto in life. And my motto in life is, I will not allow what is not in my control to prevent me from doing what is in my control. I will not allow what is not in my control to prevent me from doing what is in my control. I began with the topic, balancing religion and study. And I want to end by saying this to you, that Islam is a tool. It's not a question of balancing. It's a tool. Use it. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب العالمين.